All right, welcome to our training, everybody. We are doing more Reddit training today, and I gotta share a really cool strategy that works well as long as you've been using Reddit. So for those of you guys who are watching this that are like, I've never even used Reddit, I don't even have an account, or I have an account but I barely used it, this isn't going to work for you. You have to build your account some. What I mean by build your account, you have to get in on Reddit, you have to subscribe to your favorite subreddits, you have to interact, you have to comment, you need to be submitting content, videos, links, stuff you find on the internet that people would find valuable and useful in your subreddit, and start to build up your account, okay? If you don't do that, you're not going to be taken seriously, and when you try to execute this strategy, it's probably just not going to work that well. Now, you're looking at a picture right now, and it looks like an army of stick people, right? Well, let me explain what this is. This is what I would refer to as an example of some viral marketing, okay? Now, when I say viral marketing, let me give you a quick definition. I have one just right here ready for you guys to look at. This highlighted in blue. On the internet, viral marketing is any marketing technique that induces websites or users to pass on a marketing message to other sites and users, creating a potentially exponential growth in the message's viability and effect, which is this picture to a T. So if you ever hear somebody say, hey, check out this really cool viral video, or hey, this video went viral, or this blog post went viral, it basically means that it was shared by the initial creator right here where my mouse is, and a few people saw it and thought it was really cool, so they shared it with a few people, and then those people shared it with a few people, and then all of a sudden within 24 hours thousands of people are seeing this and sharing it. That's what it means to send something viral. Now, a lot of things that do go viral actually originate here in Reddit, okay? Which is one of the reasons why we use Reddit, because it's the starting point to ignite something to go viral. Or one of the starting points. I think it's one of the best. But Reddit is the platform to ignite something. If you want to see something like this happen, and believe me, Reddit has been known to send so much traffic to a website that it crashes it, that the servers go down, because so many people are hitting it and sharing it and hitting it. So an example of this going viral would be like, hey, you share something on Reddit in a subreddit, like a blog post or a video or something, and then a couple of people see it and like it, and maybe they upvote the content, right? They give it an upvote. More people see it. It stays on the top of that subreddit page. You upvote it a little bit more. It stays up there. More and more people see it. Maybe somebody sees it and decides to share it on their Facebook page, and then all their Facebook friends see it, and then maybe 3 or 4 of their Facebook friends post it, and then all of a sudden the thing goes viral, right? That's the power of starting it in the right place. So we're going to show you a quick strategy today to actually make that happen. And so I've got some notes here. I'll show you some examples, and hopefully this will make some sense to you guys as we do it, okay? But before we can ever really start trying to get something to go viral, I already told you guys you have to have a built-up Reddit account. That doesn't mean it needs to be like years old or anything. I mean, you just need to have an account that you've been using for a little while, that you've been commenting on stuff, and maybe you've shared a few links. It needs to look like it's not a brand new account. So I'm going to say build up an existing Reddit account. You can have multiple accounts too, right? So you could be building up multiple accounts to do this with if you wanted to. Okay, I'm not going to focus so much on one because we've talked about number one at some length in the other videos. Okay, so here's step 2. Okay, choose a niche, or we'll call it a subreddit to target. Okay, so we're going to choose some sort of a niche. Now, for today's example, I'm going to just take a niche from you guys. Somebody give us an example of a niche that we want to try this out with, that we can use as an example in our training today. Any niche will do. I'll let you throw a bunch of ideas at me. Oddly enough, a couple of you guys actually. Oh, there's lots of ideas. How am I supposed to pick, guys? All right, let's just do something. Cindy, I saw your gardening first as a potential niche. Let's go with that because I saw it first, and it's only fair if I saw it first. And then we'll use that as our example. Plus, it's spring. The first day of spring is Sunday, right? So let's do it with what's in season. So we'll choose gardening. Okay, so gardening is going to be our niche. So we'll put that in parentheses here. Okay, so the first thing we got to do here is we need to go find our gardening or garden-related subreddit. So I'm here on Reddit.com. Let's go to the search bar over here to the right-hand side of the screen. I know it's very small on your screen, but just bear with me. I'm going to type in gardening, and I'm going to see if I can find anything and everything related to gardening, and probably subscribe to a bunch of different subreddits. I'm actually already subscribed to the general gardening one, and you can see how active and big a community is within Reddit. If you'll look at the number of subscribers, see, I know this is super small. Let me zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see this better. There you go. How many subscribers does the gardening, plants, and agriculture subreddit have? 124,000 people have subscribed, right? Okay, so that's going to be an active one. We have drug gardening, and you'll see a description of it right here. For people who enjoy both gardening and drugs, a subreddit dedicated to people who have their own drug gardens. Okay, that's a very specific niche. Drug gardening. Organic gardening has 6,000 subscribers. This one has 5,000 subscribers. Okay, I'll subscribe to this one. I probably won't subscribe to that one, but you can find other ones, right? So if I go, let's go to just the gardening one real quick. And let's just sort of observe what's happening here. First of all, you can usually see sort of the topic, different links and topics right off the bat. Check this out. This person just submitted this red tomato as a picture. So if I click "So Red" here, somebody submitted this giant picture of a tomato that they must have grown in their garden, or else they're really proud of it. There you go, giant picture of a tomato. And check out how many upvotes it has. It has 7 upvotes. Okay, you see the little number 7 right here? That just represents the number of upvotes it's had versus downvotes. In the aggregate, it's up 7, or it's plus 7 on Reddit. And it's got 2 comments. So if I click on the comments, there you go. I've got people commenting about this particular red tomato. Now, guys, is this person making any money off of this picture of a red tomato? Right, I click the link and it takes me to just a giant picture here. There's nothing else on the page that I can see other than this giant red tomato. So are they making money here? No, they're not, right? Because that red tomato is simply just a picture and there's nothing else on the site. It just took me to a red tomato picture. What about, let's click on this, the thumper rule. Notice this didn't take me anywhere. This only took me to just a bit of text that somebody wrote. Is this person making any money who submitted this little bit of text? Probably not, right? Why? Well, there's no links or anything here. So this person just submitted some text, and on Reddit that happens a fair bit, where somebody here in the gardening group may just submit some text and ask a question. It just works like a normal forum, right? Okay, fair enough. How about this one right here? I thought this was cool. I actually saw this earlier today because oddly enough, I was in this gardening Reddit looking around. Check this out. Just a picture. It looks like a pallet of some sort, right? Where somebody's filled with dirt and they're planting in this pallet pushed up against the side of a fence. So kind of cool, right? So that's a picture of it. It currently has 27 upvotes, 6 comments, and the more upvotes it has, more likely the longer it stays here on this first page. If you don't have a lot of votes or you get downvoted, you'll pull off the first page of gardening very quickly. If you get an absolute crazy number of votes quickly, you'll not only be at the top of your gardening subreddit, but you'll also go to the front page of Reddit, and that's where you can get so much traffic your site will shut down. I've actually never been on the front page of Reddit ever. It's a goal of mine. I think that'd be awesome if I could, but I've never been there. But I've gotten to the top of these subreddits before, and you can still get a tremendous amount of traffic from these for sure. Cheryl asks, is there a marketing area on Reddit where people show what they're selling? There is some marketing subreddits for sure that talk about SEO and digital marketing, but not to like shamelessly promote your own stuff. No, not at all. Reddit's about being sneaky and marketing your stuff in sort of a more sneaky way, right? So far we've seen some cool pictures and stuff, but none of these people are making any money. The people who are making money are submitting links to certain places, okay? Let's try this one right here. Nope, this is just another text post. No. Those are images. Let's see if this one has anything. Nope, that's just text. A lot of the content here isn't anything other than people submitting text and pictures, which is fine. This is another picture. See, these are users in this subreddit that, you got to remember, most people on Reddit aren't marketers like you and I, right? So a lot of the stuff that's being submitted here is just people taking their own pictures and sharing it, or submitting videos. Here's a picture of a flower somebody's sharing, right? That flower has 87 upvotes. It's probably gotten a tremendous amount of clicks. Here's the difference, guys. If I wanted to come in here and figure out how to make some money off of Reddit, I would create some valuable piece of content, right? I would take my own picture of a flower or a vegetable, which I could easily do. In fact, as an example to you guys, I may do that so you can kind of see the power of this. But instead of just linking my Reddit submission to the picture itself, I'm instead going to link it over to my blog or my website that shows that picture. And I'm going to drive all of that traffic over to that point. See, when I want to submit something, I can come up here to the top of this and I can click one of these two options right here. I can either submit a new link or I can submit a new text post. If I click submit a new text post, I'm going to have just a title and some text that I can put in. There's no place for a link, although I could put a link, right here in the text if I wanted to. Whatever, xyz.com. But remember, you have to be super subtle about this. Your piece of content, unless it is just an awesome piece of content that people are going to find useful within this subreddit, this thing's not going to last even a second, and it'll get downvoted and it'll disappear. So before I even consider posting something, I got to have something cool to post. Now, that's going to happen one of two ways, guys. Either you need to come up with your own unique content, take a photo on your own, make a video on your own, write a really interesting article on your own that's going to be valuable, useful, and informational to people in that subreddit, or you need to go, quote unquote, steal it from somebody else. Okay. Now, a lot of you guys are going to tell me, I don't want to take my own picture of something, or I don't know how to make my own video, and I'm not great at writing, or you're going to tell me those things, and I get that. So here's a little trick. If you go to, and this is kind of the crux of what I wanted to show you today, if you go to google.com/news, okay, this is Google's like news search, okay? And yes, Cheryl, that would be fine. Cheryl says, I was thinking of talking or taking posts. Let's see. Oh, talking and posting shots of what I have, but not actively marketing it. As long as what you have, Cheryl, is going to be interesting. Like, for example, in this gardening subreddit where I am, if I came in here and posted a picture of a composter that I'm selling on my website and just said, hey, check out this cool composter, and left a link, I'd get destroyed. I wouldn't stay up here. People are smart on Reddit. They know when you're trying to market something. But if I had a really cool picture of a composter that was doing something really interesting or cool, or I was doing a tutorial on how to use one correctly that I felt like these people would like, or maybe I was composting something really weird that worked, right? Right, something interesting about the composter, then I could probably get away with doing some marketing that way. But if you're lacking content, and that's usually the crux for most people, if you get the concept of Reddit, but you're like, I don't know what to put there, go to Google News and do a search and type in your niche or whatever. I'm going to type in gardening, and I'm going to see what's newsworthy in the gardening sphere, right? And I'll look through here, and this is stuff that's recently been published online, so it's not going to be old news. This is new stuff that I could maybe take and use for my posts. Now, what I wouldn't do if I found an interesting article here is I wouldn't just post the article, because that doesn't do me any good, right? That just sends everybody else over to the article. I would take that article and I would rewrite it or put it in my own words and summarize it. I'd put it on my own website and I'd send people there. That's what I would do. Let's see if we can't find something interesting here. How about this right here? This is from the Columbian, raised bed gardening, good choice with Northwest soils. Let me click on this and just take a look at it. Why for Northwest soil? How many of you guys live in the Northwest that are here? Any of you guys? So as I'm reading the article, raised beds can be a great addition to the home garden for homegrown vegetables, fruits, or flowers, or other ornamentals. Raised beds have some great advantages over in-ground gardens, and then they give me a bunch of advantages for raised beds. All right, here we go. Often in the Pacific Northwest, additional nitrogen is needed to help organic matter break down. So add a commercial nitrogen fertilizer. Okay, so that, I guess that's the reason why in the Pacific Northwest you need more nitrogen, I guess. So this article really kind of just sucks though, because if you send this over to Reddit, I mean, it's okay. It's not really very interesting. I mean, the title is compelling, raised bed gardening, good choice with Northwest soils, but I had a hard time finding out why that was. specific to the Northwest until I found all the way down here, right? So what I would do with this then, let's say I owned a gardening business and I was selling gardening products, right? I had a gardening e-commerce site and I'm trying to make money on this thing. Well, on my blog, I would take this article and basically spin it and rewrite it really quick and just make it better. Maybe put some more pictures on it or whatever, and post about why, if you live in the Pacific Northwest, why you absolutely need one of these raised bed gardens, because your soil is garbage and it doesn't have enough nitrogen and XYZ. I'd put all this information in there and then I'd post it on Reddit. If it's a good article and it's done well, it'll stay up towards the top of my gardening subreddit, right? And if it can stay up there, I'm telling you guys, you will drive hundreds, if not thousands of visitors very quickly to your blog. And you might say, well, how does that help me sell products, right? Why, these people who are on Reddit aren't necessarily interested in buying my gardening products. So why am I doing this? All I'm doing is I'm sending them to this blog to read this information, and then they're probably going to click off, right? Well, you're probably right. But here's what you got to remember about advertising. If you can bring a ton of people to a blog post like that, if you can get a ton of eyeballs on your own piece of content, you can do some work with that. Think about it. Based on our trainings that we've done before, we could stick some AdSense on that page, and we'd make money off of the AdSense, people clicking on our ads. Because if you can send 1,000 people to an article in the space of a day or a couple of days, you'll make money off of that. You could put in some affiliate links. You could really, really carefully make a soft pitch for somebody to go check out your gardening site. Maybe at the bottom of the article that you spun, you might say something like, "Hey, by the way, we actually carry on xyz.com some of the very best pieces of material to create your own raised garden bed. Check it out." And you may get a small percentage of those 1,000 people to click over onto your site to look at maybe buying something from you. After all, is this traffic not the most targeted traffic in the world? Those 1,000 people who are on a gardening subreddit, what do we know about those people? Those people are into gardening, right? We know that for sure. And so if I'm going to send 1,000 people over to this post and I have a gardening business, I have a real opportunity to turn those people into potential buyers, right? I can embed some affiliate ads. There's a lot of things I can do, and that doesn't even comment on the SEO benefits. Let me share something with you real quick. I'm going to break out my whiteboard here. Let's pretend for a second. So we'll say this page right here. This is Reddit. Okay, and this is our gardening subreddit. So we'll say this is the gardening page right here. We'll just say gardening. There we go. Okay, so here are you guys right here. There you go. There's the stick figure, right? We're going to make your eyes little money signs because guess what? Most of you guys are here to make money, right? So you're trying to use this, and you own this little gardening. We'll say this is your website right here, okay? This is your gardening website. Well, so you submit your piece of content right here, right? And where did you get this piece of content? This is your piece of content, by the way, from your blog. I'm going to put a B here so you guys know this is the blog. And this is your, I'm not going to call this G, I'm going to call this is your e-commerce site. We'll say e-com. This is how you make money, is on this e-commerce site right here. So you submit, your blog goes onto Reddit, right? Well, Reddit starts sending you tons and tons of traffic back to this blog. And it's a pretty well written piece because you guys went out to google.com reddit.com/news, and you actually found a pretty interesting article that you spun. You don't want to copy, you don't want to send this article to Reddit, but you spun it, right? You put it on your blog, you submitted it to Reddit, and you're getting all this traffic back from Reddit. If your blog is getting all of that traffic, that's what I'm saying. You could link back over to your e-commerce site. All of these people that are coming and checking out this blog may also do the thing that we talked about earlier here. They might share your blog post on Facebook if it's done well enough. They may share it on Twitter, right? They're obviously liking it on Reddit, so they may share it other places. Naturally, Reddit people are usually people who are going to share other things on social media. That's where all of a sudden lots of other people start to see it. And all those people that are seeing it might be liking it on social media, and they might be linking back to you. From a search engine standpoint, from an SEO standpoint, you're getting a tremendous amount of links that are coming into your blog. Links from other websites, from Facebook, from Twitter, right? We'll call this Facebook, we'll call this Twitter. These are links coming into your blog. The more links that come into your blog, you got to remember your blog also links over to your e-commerce site. All these inbound links that are coming into your blog are going to foster higher search engine rankings for your website, for those of you guys who know a little bit about link building. So as I'm looking at this picture, it looks funny. I hope you guys are following what I'm actually trying to teach here. But what I'm saying is there's so much power in this, and you guys don't have to be super smart about your content. You just need to go out there. Well, I guess that's not true. No, it's completely not true. You need to be really smart about your content, but you need to go out there and find good ideas off of Google News. I was on a beekeeping Reddit recently, which I'll show you real quick, and then geez, we're almost out of time. I got to finish up. Let me find the beekeeping Reddit. So I was on this beekeeping Reddit recently, and I don't think it's here on the first page anymore. But I was in Google News. Let me show you. Go back to Google News real quick. I just did a search for Google News for honeybee, and there's been a lot of publicity about General Mills. Have you guys seen this? How General Mills has taken their Honey Nut Cheerios box. See if I can find a picture of it right here. Have you guys seen this in the stores at all? For those of you guys who eat Cheerios, they've made like an outline of the bee, because bees are dying off, and it's their way of marketing and bringing awareness to the fact that bees are dying off and that we need to take better care of them, etc. Have you guys seen some of this before? This news article broke out, I think it was like a week ago or maybe a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, had I been watching the Google News, and if I were one of the first people to see this type of an article, I could have taken it, put it on my website, reworded it a little bit, and then submitted it to the beekeeping section. Because that article, once it got put onto the beekeeping section of Reddit, it stayed on the first page of the beekeeping section for weeks. It was there forever. People were upvoting it. People were commenting about it. It was a big stir. Had I done that and I put it on my own site and I had AdSense, or I was linking over to my, let's say I'm selling beekeeping supplies, whatever, I would have drove a tremendous amount of traffic. But of course I didn't. But that's the point. I'm just saying, if you guys can keep on top of your niche, anything that's interesting or newsworthy, and be the first to submit it in that subreddit, you'll get a tremendous amount of interest and traffic. And that's the power behind what we're trying to do. Okay, so I'm not going to comment anymore. I think that's plenty today. We'll probably talk more, maybe do some more examples of this in subsequent Thursdays. I'm not done training on Reddit. I just don't think you guys have been able to see what we can do with it completely. So we'll keep training on it, but hopefully this is starting to make some sense to you guys. But none of this matters until you start actually doing this stuff. So get using your account, because I know a lot of you guys aren't so far. Just to clear up some questions real quick before we finish up. Russell says, how do you get them to go to your blog without appearing to be promoting it? That's where it goes back to when you are doing your account for the first time, Russell. If people see that the only thing you submit on Reddit is stuff from the same blog or the same website, they're going to know you're shamelessly promoting your own stuff. But if you're an active user and you're commenting and sharing other people's stuff, and then all of a sudden you share a blog, you don't say it's yours, you just share it, and people don't know it belongs to you. Well, the only person that knows it belongs to you is you. You submit it, and people are none the wiser, so to speak. Yeah, so whatever, exactly, Michelle, whatever your niche is on your e-commerce site or your blog, you should go subscribe to those subreddits and get to know them really well. Yep. Yeah, they could do that, Kirk, no doubt. Okay, I'll just tell you, there's people out there that make a living off of doing this. What they do, and I'll share more about this next week, but they make a living off of creating hundreds of domain names and websites, which you can do very quickly if you know how to use WordPress. And all they do is they put AdSense and affiliate ads on these different websites. They might have a website about sports. They may have one about pets, about gardening, about whatever, decor, or whatever it is, cars. And they'll make a habit of scouring Google News. They'll find a latest news story. They'll quickly rewrite it, pop it on their blog, send it out to Reddit, and then hope it goes viral. Because if it does and they get 15, 20, 25,000 views over the course of a week, they'll make a bunch of money off of all their affiliate ads and AdSense and everything else they're trying to promote. That people just do that as their marketing strategy, and it can work. So I want to teach this in more detail so you guys can harness it and use it, because I think this could be a huge, huge way to drive a lot of traffic to your site. I mean, if you're struggling with SEO, and I know SEO can take some time, sometimes an immediate boost of traffic is pretty awesome to get, and this is what Reddit can do for us. Just looking through the rest of your comments. Okay, Christina, you said once we create our account and get subscribed, showing that you're active, should we make it a point to log into it once a day or twice a week, or what do you suggest? Yeah, I mean, I don't know about how often. I mean, people can see how old the account is. I would just make a habit of just using it fairly regularly. That's why, like, I'm having most of you guys who are even brand new, I want you using it on a fairly regular basis. Like, if you're not, even if put the marketing stuff aside, Reddit's useful for a lot of things. This is a great, it's just a great tool for people generally. So I think you should just try to incorporate it into your regular consumption of the internet anyway. So much of us spend time on Facebook. You'll find more interesting stuff on Reddit than you will on Facebook, but most people don't know that, right? So I don't know if there's an exact amount you need to use it, but I would try to log in at least a couple times a week, sure, and spend a few minutes on it. You don't need to live on Reddit, but you need to show that you use it a fair bit. Yeah, personal account first. You can do a business account later, sure. I'm glad you made it, Julianne. Yep, remind me, Cindy. Shoot me an email, and I definitely can. Okay, guys, we'll finish up. Thanks for coming around. We'll do some more Reddit stuff next week. Your action item is to go use your account, because none of this matters unless you do. Okay? Hope it helped. Thanks, guys. See you next time.